several new members, Lewis, that I want to welcome to the David Pakman Show membership program. By the way, Lewis, his critiques of movies. Godfather, do you like that movie?
Love it.
Okay, so you're not completely just bizarre.
Don't question me.
Stephen Hall, Tracy Jones, Eugene Mosley, Anna C., and Sam Garcia, all new members of the David Pakman Show membership program. Maybe soon Lewis will join. Purchased over 250,000 subscriptions, this guy. Gave away every single one. Incredible. Just he's that nice of a guy.
I know that. I find the number amazing myself.
Did you hear about the congressman who, at a town hall, he's a Republican Georgia congressman, his name's Paul Broun, and during a town hall meeting, an individual, an elderly man who apparently traveled 75 miles to go to this town hall meeting, and he claims to be a, quote, huge fan of Paul Brown's, asked, who's going to shoot Obama? Right? That's a logical question. At a town hall meeting, you finally get time to talk with your representative. And the question is, who is going to shoot the President of the United States? And not only that, it's a great question to ask a congressman. Because who better than a congressman to tell you? Who will it be that shoots the President of the United States? Now, the report of what happened is that Paul Broun kind of chuckled. And then he responded, there's a lot of frustration with this president. Okay? He didn't denounce it. He didn't say, actually, just mentioning that is going to get you law enforcement attention, deservedly so. And none of the members of Congress would ever do anything but completely denounce that. No, chuckled, there's a lot of frustration with this president. We're going to have an election next year. Hopefully we'll elect somebody that's going to be a conservative, limited government president. Okay? This is being complicit in the question, Lewis. Am I going overboard by saying that anything short of denouncing the man and probably turning him over to authorities is just not enough from a member of Congress?
Well, if you take... Okay, clearly he thought this man was just joking.
I don't know that.
Perhaps you could tell by the way he said it. I don't know. I don't have the audio clip. He
responded with talking points the way you do. I don't know, Lewis.
People in office have insinuated things like this. We talked about it. We played them on the show. Pundits, broadcasters. I mean, so why aren't they getting locked up?
But there's not members. I'm not talking about locking up. There aren't members of Congress chuckling and agreeing about how frustrating Barack Obama's policies are. Right? If someone says, who's going to shoot the president, and you say, there's a lot of frustration with the president, you are basically saying, I can understand why you would ask that question. That's a reasonable question.
What he's saying is, I can understand why you would jokingly ask that question. As dumb as the question is, if a man stood up and said, didn't even ask a question and said, I'm going to kill the president, I think he probably would have reacted differently, right?
Listen,
he wouldn't have laughed and said, I understand your frustration.
There's not a lot I find redeemable about John McCain, especially lately. But when that crazy Fox News informed supporter stood up and said, I believe Barack Obama is an Arab. And by the way, I would love to hear that woman's definition of really an Arab. What does that mean? Is that religious, or is that a particular language? Tell me about what it means to be an Arab. But forget about that. John McCain took the mic from her and basically said, no, ma'am, he's not. He is a decent family man, and we disagree on policy. We disagree on policy. Paul Broun chose to laugh, and he is complicit. He is basically validating the frustration to the point where he can see why somebody would want to advocate assassination. It's incredible. And by the way, Lewis, days later, this wasn't filmed, so I think Paul Brown's office tried to just keep it under the radar. Days later, his office put out a statement saying the question was inappropriate, so Congressman Broun moved on. No, he didn't move on. He responded in a way that validated the question. But you know what? I'll be honest. In researching Paul Broun, I can understand why he would not denounce the question, because he warned that President Obama and Democrats want to, quote, take over all of society. He warned that the healthcare reform law and stimulus are going to kill elderly Americans and the disabled. He warned that clean energy legislation would make elderly Southerners die from hypothermia. And what is par for the course, ladies and gentlemen? He compared President Obama to Hitler and Obama's following to the Hitler Youth. Okay? And you know what? When you take that into consideration, maybe the question from a constituent isn't surprising, right? I mean, Lewis, hear me out.
What McCain did, he did, well, not because he wouldn't do it anywhere. I think McCain is a decent guy, but he did it because he was on the campaign trail running for president and the cameras were on. Who knows what Brown says in the privacy of his own home? It might be very similar to the question that this man asked him.
But forget about John McCain. What I'm saying is, if you are telling your constituents that Obama is like Hitler, right? If your constituents truly believe that the president is a dictator intent on killing the elderly and the disabled through legislation, it's actually not unreasonable to think maybe someone should assassinate Barack Obama. I don't know. I think it's a question worth asking. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Make sure you like our Facebook page, facebook.com/David Pakman Show. We'll be back after this. Still to come, Bill Scher, and plenty more. I just can't even fit it all in today almost, Lewis.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.